Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic. Many people believe that the big three are the best tennis players in history, even though it's always hard to compare athletes of different generations. But they set so many incredible records and produced some of the best and most exciting tennis, like in 2006 when Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer battled out an epic 5-set match that many fans still fondly remember today. But while this is seen as one of the best clay court matches ever, it was only the final of the Rome Masters, which is an important event on the tennis calendar. But you see, while Rafa, Roger and Novak are considered some of, if not the greatest in history, the ATP Masters 1000 tournaments still stand in the shadow of the 4 Grand Slams: the Australian Open, Roland Garros, Wimbledon, and the US Open. At least casual tennis fans that don't follow the sports weekly might never have paid that much attention to these 9 other tournaments. Yet they make up such a big chunk of the tennis season, and players consider them important too. Just like how football isn't just the World Cup, tennis doesn't consist only of the Grand Slams. Of course they are indeed the biggest tournaments which every tennis player aspires to win, but they are only the peaks during the tennis season. When the ATP reorganized the tennis calendar in 1990, it took the 9 most prestigious tournaments from the previous Grand Prix Tour and made them form the new ATP Championship Series single week. As they were now ranked second only to the Grand Slams, not just in prestige, but also in ranking points, these tournaments were highly contested. Amongst the champions of the first few editions of this category were some of the all-time greats, with Stefan Edberg immediately winning 3 of the 9 titles in 1990. The 9 tournaments that originally made up the series were those in Indian Wells, Miami, Monte Carlo, Hamburg and Rome, the Canada and Cincinnati Open, as well as the indoors events in Stockholm and Paris. The Stockholm Open would then be replaced in 1995 by the Eurocard Open, which was first played in Hessen, Germany, and then moved to Stuttgart. Also, in the late 90s, the series was now known as the Super 9, which seemed very fitting as Andre Agassi and later also Pete Sampras would bring the record tally of titles won in this category up to 9. But soon they would both increase these numbers even further. Then, in the year 2000s, the ATP decided to start calling the 9 events the Tennis Masters Series. While Sampras had set the more well-known record of 14 Grand Slams, Agassi eclipsed him in numbers of Masters titles, bringing his tally up to 17. But then, the emergence of a certain Swiss player and his Spanish rival were about to end the dominance of the American players. Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal would win 8 of the 9 Masters tournaments in 2005 and continue to dominate throughout the 2000s. Both climbing quickly in the all-time winners ranking. While Federer soon only had Agassi left ahead of him, the 3 clay masters proved to be owned by Nadal, who won 2 of them every single season. In 2010, Nadal became the first and to date the only man to win all 3 clay masters within the same season, making him surpass Agassi's record of 17 Masters titles. A year later, Nadal would reach the final of the first 5 Masters of the season, but was beaten in 4 of them by Novak Djokovic, including 2 on clay. In early 2014, Nadal and Djokovic held all 9 Masters titles simultaneously, having both managed to win 4 consecutive titles each. While both Federer and Nadal then went through a bit of a drought, 2015 was a season of many records for the Joker, as he reached the final of all 8 Masters that he participated in, winning a record 6 of them. At the end of the 2016 season, winning the titles in Shanghai and Paris helped Andy Murray to take over the world #1 ranking from the Serb, before Nadal and Federer would both return to their strengths in 2017. But Djokovic returned as well, and by winning the Cincinnati Masters in 2018 and then in 2020, he became the first player to have won all 9 Masters events, not just once, but even twice.
2020 Western Sunday Open champion Novak Djokovic.
So, as we approach 2023, it becomes clear that the Big Three have dominated the ATP Masters 1000 series as much as the Grand Slams.
A 38th Masters trophy for Djokovic in Rome.
It has, however, been a bit more common at Masters level that some young guns manage to beat the old legends.
Quite remarkable conclusion for Holderuna.
If we focus only on clay, we can see the sheer extent of Nadal's dominance on that surface, as he won exactly half of all the Masters events played in Monte Carlo, Hamburg, Madrid and Rome from 2005 through 22. On hard courts, Murray and Agassi managed to win a few more titles than Rafa, while the Maestro and the Joker are clearly in front. And Boris Becker won a fifth of all the Masters events played on carpet courts in the 1990s. With his feat of having won all 9 Masters events at least twice, Novak Djokovic stands alone. In terms of final participations, the Big Three stick out massively, having each reached more finals than Agassi and Murray combined. Unsurprisingly, the same is true for the semi-finals and the total amount of match wins. Nadal's ridiculous dominance on clay translates to 2 probably unreachable numbers of titles in Monte Carlo and Rome. Interestingly though, if we look at the most final participations at any single tournament, Djokovic manages to be right up there with Rafa. If you'd like to know more in detail how much the pair completely dominated the Rome Masters throughout the last 1.5 decades, the pair having both played in the final 12 times each and 6 times against each other, you can go to the ATP Masters 1000 playlist on this channel to find out. At the Monte Carlo Masters, Rafael Nadal managed to achieve something that he couldn't even do at Roland Garros, winning the title for an incredible 8 straight years from 2005 through 2012. And his streak was only broken in the final of 2013, when Novak Djokovic defeated the King of Clay and delivered this unforgettable scream of triumph. While the US is the only country that produced several players who won 5 or more Masters titles, Spain has the most different Masters champions overall, with 15. With clay clearly being not just Nadal's, but most Spanish players' favorite surface. On hard courts, the US stays in front, at least for now. While Boris Becker and Michael Stich of Germany won the most carpet events in the 1990s.